February 28, 2026, Tehran, Iran, 9:45 a.m. local time. It's Saturday morning, the first day of the Iranian work week. Millions of people are commuting to offices and schools. In the Pasteur district of central Tehran, one of the most heavily guarded compounds in the country sits behind reinforced walls. Inside, Iran's supreme leader is at his desk. For 36 years, this man has held power. Every threat the outside world has thrown at him, he has survived. What he does not know is that Israeli fighter jets are already in the air. U.S. Navy warships in the Arabian Sea have already launched Tomahawk cruise missiles, and that this morning, after months of planning and thousands of hours of joint intelligence work, the United States and Israel are executing the most ambitious military strike in the Middle East since the invasion of Iraq. Israel calls the operation Roaring Lion. The Pentagon calls it Operation Epic Fury. At exactly 9:45 a.m., the first explosions hit Tehran. Smoke rises over the Pasteur district. A direct hit levels the compound of the supreme leader. According to reports from Israeli and U.S. officials, intelligence agencies had tracked Khamenei to the Beit Rabari, his official office compound in the Pasteur district. But knowing he was there was not enough. The compound is a fortified complex with multiple reinforced structures spread across a secure perimeter. To ensure the strike would be lethal, regardless of which building he was inside, multiple missiles are directed at the site simultaneously. Satellite imagery captured afterward shows not a single point of impact, but widespread destruction. Several structures within the compound heavily damaged or leveled entirely. It is a calculated approach. Overwhelm the target area so completely that no single room, no single bunker offers a way out. At the same moment as Khamenei's compound is hit, two other locations in the capital where senior Iranian officials are gathered are struck simultaneously. For months, Israeli military intelligence has been building a target bank, tracking the movements of Iran's leadership, waiting for the exact morning when enough senior figures would be in known locations at the same time. This is that morning, and the element of surprise is total. A senior U.S. defense official will later describe it as a massive, wildly bold daytime attack. Within the first 3 hours, Israeli jets and American missiles strike dozens of targets across Iran: military bases, intelligence headquarters, missile production facilities, and air defense systems in 5 cities. But the primary objective is not infrastructure, it is people. 30 senior Iranian leaders are personally targeted in the opening wave, among them the defense minister, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, and the secretary of Iran's Security Council, and at the center of it all, the 86-year-old man in the compound. By the end of the day, Iranian state media will confirm what the rest of the world already suspects. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, is dead. To understand how the United States and Israel reached this point, we have to go back 3 months. Late December 2025, Iran's economy is collapsing. Its national currency, the rial, has plunged against the dollar and prices are soaring. Across the country, people begin pouring into the streets. Not hundreds, not thousands, hundreds of thousands. Within days, the protests spread to over 100 cities, the largest demonstrations Iran has seen since the 1979 revolution. And the demands go beyond economics. Crowds are chanting for regime change. In response, the government turns to force. Security forces open fire on protesters. Authorities shut down the internet across the entire country for more than 2 weeks. Estimates of the death toll vary wildly. The Iranian government says around 3,000, while human rights organizations put the number much higher. On January 13, 2026, Trump posts a message directed at the Iranian people. "Keep protesting," he writes. "Help is on the way." 10 days later, he announces that an American armada is heading to the Middle East. The USS Abraham Lincoln, the USS Gerald R. Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the world, guided missile destroyers, submarines, fighter jets, and tankers. It marks the most significant U.S. military buildup in the region since the Iraq War. While the warships move into position, Washington opens a second track: diplomacy. On February 6th, the U.S. and Iran begin indirect nuclear negotiations in Muscat, Oman, where American officials lay out 3 demands: end all uranium enrichment, accept strict limits on the ballistic missile program, and cut off all support for proxy groups like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. Over the following weeks, the second round is held in Geneva, then a third. With each session, the Omani mediator describes a positive push. And on February 27th, one day before the strikes, he announces what he calls a breakthrough. Iran has agreed to never stockpile enriched uranium and to accept full verification by international inspectors. But behind the scenes, the decision has already been made. According to a senior Israeli defense official, the joint operation has been planned for months, with a specific date set weeks in advance. Reporting from the Washington Post later reveals that the Saudi crown prince and the Israeli government both lobbied Trump repeatedly to authorize the strike. Meanwhile, US and Israeli intelligence agencies have been working together for thousands of hours, mapping targets, tracking movements, building the architecture for a single coordinated blow. At the last moment, the timeline actually shifts forward. Intelligence indicates a target of opportunity. Senior Iranian officials are gathering at known locations on Saturday morning. Rather than wait, the decision is made to accelerate. At 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time on February 28th, hours after the first explosions in Tehran, Trump releases an 8-minute video on Truth Social. In it, he describes the operation as major combat aimed at eliminating threats from the Iranian regime, claiming Iran has rejected every opportunity to give up its nuclear ambitions. Then he turns directly to the Iranian people. "The hour of your freedom is at hand," he says. "When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take." Shortly after, Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, delivers his own statement, calling the strikes a response to an existential threat, and then a pointed claim. "The plan to destroy Israel does not exist," he says, and there are many signs that even the tyrant Khamenei does not exist either. At the time, this is believed to be a double-meaning statement, and that the Prime Minister is saying indirectly, without formally confirming it, that the supreme leader of Iran has been killed and that they no longer pose a threat to Israel. He is saying this because Israel hadn't officially announced the kill yet. For hours, confusion dominates. Iran's foreign minister tells NBC News that the supreme leader is alive, as far as he knows, but Israeli officials counter that his body has been found in the rubble of the compound. Satellite images show the compound reduced to smoldering debris. Then, early on March 1st, Iranian state media finally confirms it. Khamenei was killed at his workplace. 40 days of mourning are declared. Iran's president calls him a martyr. Over the following hours, the full scale of the decapitation strike becomes clear. Along with Khamenei, the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, the defense minister, and the secretary of the Security Council, one of Khamenei's closest advisors, are all confirmed dead. According to CBS News, as many as 40 Iranian officials are killed in the opening strikes alone. Khamenei's daughter, son-in-law, and grandchild are also reported among the dead. Beyond the military targets, the strikes carry a devastating cost for Iranian civilians. By the end of the first day, the Red Crescent reports over 200 killed and more than 700 wounded across Iran. State media reports that a strike hits a girls' elementary school in the southern city of Manab. Saturday is a school day in Iran. Iran's response comes within 4 hours, a speed that suggests the retaliation was pre-planned, prepared in advance in case this exact scenario unfolded. Waves of missiles and drones are launched by the Revolutionary Guard, not just at Israel, but across the entire Middle East. US military bases in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and the UAE all come under fire. Explosions echo through Dubai, Doha, Riyadh, and Manama. Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest for international travel, sustains damage. A fire breaks out at the Jebel Ali port. Authorities evacuate the Burj Khalifa. One person is killed at Abu Dhabi's airport. Airspace across the region shuts down, more than 1,000 flights are canceled, and Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, the critical oil shipping route connecting the Gulf to the open sea. From there, the conflict only widens. Israel launches additional waves of strikes targeting missile launchers and air defense systems across Iran. In response, the Revolutionary Guard vows what it calls the most intense offensive operation in its history. Gulf states that had nothing to do with the original attack find themselves absorbing Iranian fire. The UAE alone intercepts 195 drones, though 14 still land within its borders. As of now, much of what comes next remains unknown. Whether Iran's government can survive the loss of its supreme leader and much of its military command, whether the Revolutionary Guard will seize control or fracture from within, whether the protests that swept the country in January will return, whether the strikes will lead to the regime change that Trump and Netanyahu have openly called for, or whether they will trigger a wider war that pulls in more nations and more civilians. Much is still left to play out, and no one can say with certainty how this ends. This was simply meant as a reconstruction of how events have unfolded so far. What is clear is that in the span of a single morning, a joint military operation planned in secret for months and executed with precision across an entire country killed the most powerful man in Iran and dismantled much of the command structure around him. Whether that morning marks the beginning of the end for the Islamic Republic or the beginning of something far worse is a question that only time will answer.